So, good morning, student, and here we start with our first chapter for the course Programming 2, which is chapter 7, Inheritance. Inheritance is one of the important feature of any object-oriented programming language. In this chapter, in this lecture, I'm just going to explain about the basics of the inheritance, not going much in detail, so certain terminology related to the inheritance. Let's just have a quick review of the class. What is a class? We learned in Java 1. So we know that we have the user-defined data types. We can create a class by using the class keyword, and each class has data members associated with it and the methods associated with it. Data members are the variables. We can create an instance of the class by using a new keyword. So whenever we create in the main method, we create an object of the class by using the new keyword. Then we also learned about static members and the methods. Static members and the methods, they have only one copy of the, doesn't matter how many instances are created. So let's start with the inheritance. What is inheritance? Actually, reusability is a very important feature of any object-oriented language. It is always nice if we can reuse something that already exists rather than creating the same thing all over again. If you can recall the methods, why we use the method? So that we can use a chunk of code whenever we want to reuse something. Instead of creating the same lines of code again and again, we created the methods which we learned in Java 1. So now inheritance. Basically is we can reuse the classes now. So Java classes can be reused in several ways, and this is done by creating the new classes and reusing the properties of the existing ones. So the phenomena or the mechanism of deriving the new class from the old one is called as inheritance. The old class is known as the base class or the superclass or the parent class, and the new class which is derived is called as the subclass, derived class, or the child class. Now the inheritance allows the subclasses to inherit all the variables and methods of their parent class. So just to explain in simple words, inheritance. What is inheritance? Just like you inherit certain traits from your parents, like you have inherited your eyes from your mother or your height from your father, same way Java also allows the inheritance. Now what is inheritance? In Java, inheritance is something we have a class C1. This class has its own variables, it has its own methods. We can create a class C2 which is derived from this class. Now class C2 can have its own variables, own methods, but the class C2 will also have the variables and the methods inherited from the class C1. So C2 will have its own features as well as it will inherit the features of the class C1 from which it is derived. This is called as the feature of reusability. Why do we need inheritance? Because it allows us, it helps us to reuse something instead of creating again and again something. Now let's talk about certain terminologies. So here we have a concept of parent class and child class. So the original class is called as the parent class, and the class from which we derive a class is called as the child class. So the old class is known as the base class, superclass, or the parent class. These are three different names for the parent for the class from which a class is derived. So the old class from where we have derived a class, it is also called as parent class, it is also called as superclass, and it is also called as the base class. Now the child class or the class which we have derived is also called as child class, is also called as subclass, and is also called as derived class. So these are the different names. Inherited members. Now what are the inherited members? All the instance variables, all the variables that we have declared in class C1, all the static variables and all the public methods of the class C1 will be inherited by the class C2. So private variables are not inherited. We will talk about the private variables and the private methods later. So all the instance variables, all the static variables and all the public methods, they are inherited. Overriding, we know what is overriding. It can override a method. So the child class can override a method definition of the parent class also. Then we will talk about the final modifier. What is a final modifier? If a class is declared as final, it cannot be it cannot be subclassed, or if a method is declared as final, it cannot be overridden. We can always change the access permission of an overridden method in the derived class. So private to public is allowed, public to private is not allowed. Then overriding versus overloading we will talk about, and we will talk about super and this constructor. So let's talk about the terminology in more detail. Inheritance is a fundamental OOP object. This is what reusability is. OOP is an important aspect of OOP paradigm. So a class can be defined as a subclass. So now we have two things, subclass and superclass. A class can be defined as a subclass of other class. What subclass will do? It will inherit all the data members of its superclass or the parent class or the base class. Superclass is also called as parent class and the base class. Subclass is also called as child class or derived class. Subclass inherits all methods of its superclass. Subclass will inherit all the associations of its superclass. Subclass, it can add its new members, it can add new functions, it can add new variables. It can also override the inherited data members. So it can override a method which is declared in the parent class. So for example, we have a class person. These are the data members, name and date of birth, and we have derived a class employee from the class person. So now employee has its own data members. It has three variables: employee ID, salary and start date. Actually, employee has now 5 variables. These 3 variables belong to employee class, and these 2 variables are inherited from the person class to the employee class. Person class has only 2 variables. Employee class has total of 5 variables. 3 variables its own and 2 variables which are inherited from the person class. So why do we need it? We may need for method overriding so that we can achieve the runtime polymorphism. What is runtime polymorphism? We will understand it later. Basically, we use it for code reusability, because it is always nice if we can reuse something that already exists rather than creating the same thing over and over again, so as to minimize our time. The terms which we are going to use is class, subclass, child class. It is also called as derived class. Superclass, parent class. It is also called as the base class, and reusability. So class, as we know from the previous course, it's a group of objects which have common properties. It's a blueprint from which objects are created. Child class or the subclass. It is a class which is inherited from the other class. It is also called as derived class. It is also called as extended class, child class. So these are all the names for the subclass. Superclass or the parent class. It is the class from where a subclass inherits the feature. It is also called as the base class or the parent class. Reusability. The name specifies reusability is a mechanism which allows you to reuse something over and over again. So to reuse the fields and methods of the existing class when you create a new class. You can use the same fields, you can use the same methods that have already been defined in the previous parent class. So how do we do the inheritance in Java? Basically, we use the keyword extends. How does our syntax looks like? Public class, class name, extends superclass. So this is child class, this class is child class, and this class is parent class. So extend keyword tells us that we are doing the inheritance. Public class, name of the child class, extends, name of the parent class. Now this superclass should be pre-existing. You should have created your superclass first, then you can create the inheritance, then you can create a child class by using the keyword extends. So a subclass inherits all the superclass behavior and it can override its method. To call an overridden method from the superclass, we can use the super keyword. I will explain the super keyword later in the slides. So basically just now how to use the super keywords. Super dot method name, and if the method has any parameters, we pass the parameters over here. Alright, so coming to the hierarchy of the inheritance. Inheritance creates a class hierarchy. Just like in your family tree, you have a hierarchy. Your great-grandfather, your grandfather, your father, you, then your children. So same way we have a hierarchy of the classes when we create inheritance in Java. Classes higher in the hierarchy are more general and more abstract. Classes lower in the hierarchy, they are more specific and more concrete. There is no limit to the number of subclasses a class can have. So a class can have any number of subclasses, it does not have any limit. There is no limit to the depth of the class tree also. Alright, so here we have an example. For example, we create a class shape. Then we derive a class circle from shape. So my syntax will look like public class circle extends shape. So this is how we use the inheritance. Then we create another class, rectangle class, from the class shape. So how the syntax will be? Public class rectangle extends shape. So rectangle can have its own variables, own methods. Circle can have its own variables, own methods. Both these classes will inherit all the variables, all the methods which we have defined in the shape class. Now similarly we have a square class. For the square class, the parent class is the rectangle class. The parent class is the super class, or the parent class is the rectangle class. So what will be the syntax? Public class square extends rectangle. So for square, rectangle is the direct superclass and shape is the indirect superclass. So we have two terminologies here, direct superclass and indirect superclass. The superclass just above the subclass is the direct superclass. Now the superclass may be one or two level up in the hierarchy for any subclass is called as the indirect superclass. So just think like it, rectangle is a parent of square and shape is a grandparent of square class. So we will use the keyword extend. Extend keywords tells us that we are doing the inheritance. So just like here, public class inheritance extends shape. Why this is useful? It allows for code reusing and it allows for more expressive code. So we have another example. For example, we have a class person. These are the two data members defined for the class person. We have a class employee. We have a class employee. We derive the class employee from the class person, and these are the data members. So first of all, we will create a class person, which is the parent class or the super class. Public class person, we will define the data members, a private string name and private date of birth. We can declare it public. The examples that I am going to create, I will use the public keyword. Private I will use later on. Next week class I will discuss the private and other modifiers. Then employee is a child class of the person class. So how my syntax will look like? Public class employee extends person, and then we will create the variables of the employee class. Now when we are creating the test class, in the test class we will make an object of the employee class and with this object we can call the methods of the employee class, we can call the methods of the person class. So person is said to be the parent of class employee, superclass of employee class, base class of employee class, ancestor of employee. Employee class is said to be child of person class, subclass of person, derived class of person, descendant of person. So these are the basic terminologies, basic names which we use for parent and the child class. So we can have other possible inheritance hierarchies also. For example, person, I can derive a student from the person class because student is a person. I can derive a faculty from the person class because faculty is a person. I can derive employee from the person class because employee is a person. Doctor is a person, engineer is a person, so on. So for example, we have a shape class. Shape class is a superclass. So I can derive circle from the shape class, triangle, rectangle, square, and many other classes. So these can be the basic hierarchies. Now the types of inheritance. What are the types of inheritance allowed in Java? First of all, I will discuss what are the types of inheritance. In Java, we have the first three types of inheritance are allowed. The last type of inheritance is not allowed in Java. Alright. Now what are these inheritance? We have single inheritance, multi-level inheritance, hierarchical inheritance, and multiple inheritance. Multiple inheritance is not allowed in Java. Java does not support the multiple inheritance. But later on, in the next chapter, we will discuss more about multiple inheritance. Alright, so single inheritance. Alright, so single inheritance. Single inheritance is a class is derived from a subclass is derived from when I have one parent class and one child class, that is called as the single inheritance. So I have class A, class B is derived from class A. So this is a single inheritance. In this case, class A is superclass and class B is child class. So my syntax will look like class B extends A. This is called as the single inheritance. Multi-level inheritance. A common requirement in object-oriented programming is the use of derived class as a superclass. Java supports this concept and it uses extensively in building a class library, or commonly called as chain of classes. If you see over here, this is a chain of classes. So in this case, class A serves as the base class for class B, which in turn turns as a base class for derived class, class C. So the chain ABC is known as the inheritance path. So how the syntax will look like: public class A. For class B, we will write public class B extends class A. For class C, we will write public class C extends B. So this is something, a relation like your this is your parent and this is your grandparent. So in this case, in multi-level, class B is the direct superclass for class C, whereas class A is the indirect superclass for class C. Now for class C, it will inherit the for class B will inherit all the data members from class B, plus class B will have its own data members. Class C will inherit all data members of class B and it will have its own data members. So indirectly, class C will inherit data members of class A also. That's why we call class A as the indirect superclass for class C. This process may be extended to any number of levels. So for example, I can have a class D over here which is derived from the class C. So in this case, my syntax will be public class D extends class C. So for class D, if I create, class C will be the direct superclass, class B and A will be the indirect superclasses. So this process may be extended to any number of levels. Class C will inherit the members of both A and B, as I told you. In this case, class D will inherit all the members of class C, class B, class A. Similarly, I can create class E and so on. Let's move ahead to the hierarchical inheritance. The third type of inheritance is the hierarchical inheritance. So another interesting application of inheritance is to use it as a support to the hierarchical design of a program. Many programming problems can be splitted into a hierarchy where certain features of one level are shared by many others below the level. So here in this example over here we have hierarchical inheritance shown over here. So hierarchical means we are creating a hierarchy. So if you see, I have a superclass, class A, class B is derived from class A, class C is derived from class A. So class B and class C, they are basically the siblings. So just like your brother and sister. So class B is also derived from class A, class C is also derived from class A. Now class B will have its own data members plus the inherited data members from class A, whereas class C will have all the data members from class A as inherited, and class C can have its own data members. But C's data members and B's data members, they will have no relation. They are basically the siblings. So how will be the syntax? The syntax will be public class A for creating the superclass. For the child class, class B, public class B extends class A. For child class, class C, public class C extends A. Last one is the multiple inheritance. Multiple inheritance is when a class inherits from more than one class. So if you have seen over here, in all these three examples which are shown over here, a class is inheriting from only one class. So for example, class B inherits from class A, class B inherits from class A, class C inherits from class B, class B inherits from class A, class C inherits from class A. So in all these three examples, a class is inherited from a single superclass. So when a class inherits from multiple superclasses, that is called as multiple inheritance, but this is not allowed in Java. So multiple inheritance, how the syntax will be, we will create an individual class A, we will create a class B, then class C, public class C extends A comma B. However, multiple inheritance is allowed with the help of the abstract classes, which we will discuss with the help of the interfaces. So, which we will discuss this later. Java itself does not support any multiple inheritance. So that was the types of inheritance. Moving ahead. Not supported in Java through a class. Java does not support multiple inheritance. Multiple inheritance, it is not supported. Why it is not supported in Java? Because a class cannot extend more than one class to reduce the complexity and simplify the language. So a class can implement one or more interfaces. However, multiple inheritance in Java is allowed through interfaces, which is also one of the important concept in Java, which we will be learning in the coming few weeks. So this has helped Java to get rid of the impossibility of the multiple inheritance. Multiple inheritance is not supported by Java through classes, but it can be supported through interfaces. Alright, so let me just make a simple program to explain you about the inheritance. How does the inheritance works? Alright, so let's just create a empty Java file. Let me just create over here. Alright, let me create a class called person. So just a simple example to show you how does the inheritance works. Alright, I will create a class called person, then I will create a class called employee, which will extend from the person class, and then we will have the methods and we will see. Public class person. For now I am not going to use any private data members. I am going to consider all the data members and the methods are public. Let's assume string name and int age, because for every person these are the two common features. Every person will have a name, every person will have a age. Alright, let's just display, make a method public void show. Alright, okay, string, let me just initialize the variables also over here. Alright, I am going to initialize the variables over here also. Public void show. So what I am just going to print system.out.println. This is a person class, and then I will just print the values of the instance variables. System.out.println. What is the name? Name is plus name, and I'll print the age also. So we have created the first class. Let's just compile it. Okay, now I will create an inheritance. I will create a class called employee, which extends from the person class. With this will this will show the concept of inheritance. Okay, employee. Public class employee extends person. Now this employee is child class, person is the base class. This extends keyword show the inheritance. This means I am inheriting a class to a class. So person is the super class, person is the parent class, person is the base class. Employee is the child class, employee is the subclass, employee is the derived class. Now employee class will inherit all the variables and methods of the person class, plus employee class can have its own data members. Alright, let's create for an employee. Employee will always have a salary. Let me just make it some number. Employee will always have some position. String position is equals to manager. Right? So these are the two instance variables. Now I will create one method over here. Public void display, and I will display all the data members of the employee class. Alright, let me just copy from here. Okay. So this is a employee class. This is a employee class, or this is a derived class, or this is a child class. I'm just displaying a message so as it's no, or this is a parent class. So I will just display the data members over here. salary and salary. Here I have a position and position. Let's compile it. Alright. Now we need to create the main class. We call it as a test class. Now in the test class, we will always make object of the child class, and we can always call the methods of the parent class by using the object of the child class. So what I will do now, I will create a main class. Let me just call it as a test class. Alright, so I don't need it. So here what I will do, I will create an object of the child class. Always we are going to create the object of the child class, and with the help of the child class I can call the methods of the parent class. I will show you many things now. Please look carefully. Employee E1 is equals to new employee. So employee is my child class. I will call the method of the parent class, which was person, which the method in the person class or the parent class was show method, E1 dot show. And child class, which is the employee class, the method I created is display, E1 dot display. Now it will display all the information from the parent class and from the child class. So it will display this is a person class, name of the person, age of the person. Then it will display this is an employee class or child class, then salary, then position. Let's check it. So this is a person class or this is a parent class, name, age, then this is an employee class or this is a child class, salary and manager. Now let's see what happens if we create the object of the person class and call both the methods, right? System.out.println. I will just, so this is just for the readable purpose. I will create the object of the person class here. Person P1 is equals to new person. Remember, person class is my parent class, P1, and here also P1. P1.show will be displayed, but P1.display will have a problem. So if you see over here, display method cannot be called from the parent class because parent class does not have any access to child class data members. Child class can access its own data members as well as its parent class. So always we create the object of the child class. So this was the reason. Alright, this was we accessed the method of the parent class. If I just want to show the value of the variable of the parent class, so how can I do? System.out.println the name of the person is. If I just want to access the variable of the parent class has two variables, right? Name and age. So how will I do? I will use the object of the child class, E1 dot name. Name is the variable defined in the person class. So let's check it. So the name of the person is Alia. This is how you can access the data members. If it is a method, just use the child class object followed by the method name, and if there are any parameters, pass the parameters. But if it is a variable, just write the name of the variable. You can print the variables, you can access the variables from child class just by the child class object and followed by the name of the variable defined in the parent class. So this is how a simplest program of inheritance works. Alright, I have a lab exercise as well. So in the lab exercise, we have many examples like single inheritance with method, parameterized constructor, multi-level inheritance. Then we have hierarchical inheritance example, method overriding, and many others. So I'm just going to do the first program today, which is single inheritance with the method. We are going, it has like many methods, and we are I'm going to do the first question with you today. Alright, so let's read the question first of all. The question says, create a class employee and include the instance variables. The variables are string name which is of type string, department of type string, and ID of type integer. Then we need to include an instance method to the parent class, which is read. It should read the values of all the instance variables. Then we need to create a class payroll inherited from the employee class, and we will include instance variables salary, bonus, and net salary. And then we need to include all these three methods in the child class. Then we will write a test class to create an instance of the derived class and call its method. Until now, I will declare everything public. I am not going to discuss the private keyword today in the class. We will be discussing in the next class next week. Alright, so moving ahead, for the single, let's create a program. Okay. Let me just let's create over here an employee class. Please read the program line by line and do the program. Alright, so let me read the program. It says to create a class employee and include the three instance variable. So this is class employee, public class employee, and I have three instance variables. What are they? Name, department, and ID. String name, string department, although you can include it in one line also, int ID. Alright, next is what we need to include. We need to have a read method, and we need to read the values of all instance variables. For reading the method, I will read it from the keyboard. That means I need to have a scanner class. So let me import a scanner class over here. If you have forgotten all these concepts, please revise your concepts from Java 1. Import java.util.scanner. Alright, so now we need to have a method, public void read. And what do I need to do? I need to read the values of name, department, and ID. Alright, so scanner s is equals to new scanner, system.in, system.out.println, enter your name. Okay, I will just write name to be precise, and name is equals to s dot next. Then I will enter ID. Next int, so this is ID, and last one is department. Alright, so department is DEPT. Let's compile it. Alright, done. So next is we need to create a class payroll inherited from class employee, and it should have 3 instance variables which are salary, bonus and net salary. So let's do it. The class name is payroll, empty Java file, payroll. So public class payroll extends employee. Then I have 3 instance variables, salary, bonus and net salary. All these are double salary, bonus, net salary. Then what I need to have a method assign, calculate and print. So assign public void assign. I can either assign the values using the scanner class or just like this also. I need to assign the values for salary and bonus. Salary is equals to 4,000. Bonus is equals to 2,000. Then what's the next method? Calculate. I need to calculate the net salary. So another method, public void calculate. So I need to calculate net sal is equals to salary plus bonus. What's the last method? The last method is print. I want to print the values of the instance variables for both the classes. That means I want to print the value of the variables for this class payroll and for the class employee. Alright. So the method name is, let me check the method name. Method name is print. Public void print. So I need to print system.out.println. So what were the 2 variables in the employee class? Name, department and ID. 3 variables. So name, I don't, because when I am directly calling the variables of the parent class in the child class, no need to make an object. I can directly call the variable. So I will just write the name of the variable. What is the name of the variable? Is name. This is the variable which I have declared in the parent class. Alright, so I have department. I have over here department. I have over here ID. All these 3 variables, they are from the parent class. So no need to create an object. Just like that, directly we can call. Now I will print the values of the variables of the child class, which is salary, bonus and net salary. So salary bonus. So the bonus is same thing, bonus, and net salary. Net salary, I will write here net salary. Let's compile it. Alright, now we will write the main class. Let me just write test employee. Okay. So I will create an object of the child class. My child class was payroll class. Payroll P is equals to new payroll. What do I need to do? Let me check the instructions. Test class to create an instance of the derived class and call all the methods. So I will call all the methods over here. I will first of all call read method, assign method, calculate method, and then print method. So p dot read, it will read the values of name and ID and all from the parent class. P dot assign, p dot calculate. When you are doing a program, please read the instructions line by line. It will be easier for you to write the program. Don't mess up. P dot print. Alright, so let's check it. I need to enter a name, for example Alia. ID 45, department CS. So name is Alia, department, ID, salary, bonus, net salary. So everything is printed. This was the simplest example, of the inheritance. So continuing with the next concept. Next concept is about overriding methods. If you can, what is overriding methods? Now, subclass inherit all the methods from the superclass. If you have seen in the example, subclass inherits all the methods, all the data members from the superclass. Any method that is not final may be overridden by the child class. So if a method is not declared as final, it may be overridden by the child class. Now what is method overriding? Method overriding is a concept when the parent class and the child class, they have the same method name with the same parameters, exactly the same method name, exactly the same parameters. So in that case, when we call the method, parent class method will be shadowed, or we call it as parent class method will be overridden and child class method will be executed. This is called as concept of overriding. So overriding is when the child class has the same method name with the same signature as it is in the parent class, then the parent class method is said to be overridden by the child class. So overridden methods, they have the same signature as the method in the ancestor. A subclass can override. It can redefine the method of the superclass. Object of the subclass type will use the new method, and object of the superclass type will use the original method. So advantage class can be given its own specific implementation to a inherited method without even modifying the parent class. Alright, so let me just go to the previous example which we have created just now to show you, to give you an example of the method overriding. If you recall our first example, we have person class, we have employee class, and we have the main class. In the person class, we have a method called show. In the employee class, we have a method called display. Now, instead of display, if I use here show, if I use a method over here show, in the person class, which is the parent class, I have two variables, name and age. I have the method called show. In the employee class, I have two variables, salary and position, and I have the same method name, which is show. Now in this case, which method should be executed? The method of the child class, which is employee class, will be executed, and the method of the parent class is said to be overridden by the child class, which is employee class. So see over here, when I just call the method, let me just even.show. When I call the method show, employee class has a method show, person class has a method show. So in this case, employee class method, which is the child class, will be executed, whereas the person class method will not be executed. So the output that I will get, it will just display this is an employee class or child class and salary and position. Let's check it. Let's check it. Alright, so if you see over here, this is an employee class or this is a child class, and it is displaying the variables of the child class, whereas the parent class method is not displayed. This is called as overriding. So overriding is child class has the same method name with the same signature as in the parent class. So in that case, parent class method is said to be overridden by the child class. Alright, going ahead. Now how we can prevent this? Now another question is, what if I want to display the parent class method? Is there a way to display the parent class method or no? Yes, there is a way to display the parent class method. I can display the parent class method with the help of the super keyword. Now what is a super keyword? We are going to learn now. So I will use it in a program in just a while. Alright. This is an example of the overriding method. If you see over here, there is a class called bank account. It has three data members and it has deposit, withdraw and get balance. These are the three methods of the parent class. Overdraft account is the child class, which extends from the bank account. Now if you see over here, child class has the withdraw method. Public void withdraw, float and amount. So if you see over here, method name is the same, parameter type is the same, number of parameter is the same. So a child class method has the same method name and the same signature type as the parent class method. In this case, when we call the withdraw method, parent class method will not be executed, child class method will be executed, as I have shown you in the example just now. This is called as method overriding. Alright, now what if I want to show the parent class method also? So we use the keyword called super. The super keyword is used for calling the parent class method. Super keyword is also used with the constructor. I am not going to talk about constructors today. I am going to talk about only methods today. So super.myMethod, super.method name. It will call the overridden method of the base class. Now this super keyword should be the first statement in the method. So for example, if you see over here, I have a class ABC. There is a method called myMethod and it is displaying something. We have a class called demo and it extends from ABC. It has the same method name. So my method is overridden. Now if I want to show the parent class method also, what will I do? Super followed by the method name. Now this should be the first statement inside the method. Now when in the test class, when I call this method, my method, what it will do? it will pass on the control to this my method. Now the first statement encountered will be super.my method. So the super keyword will execute this method. It will print overridden method. Then after printing the statement, the control will come to the child class method with the same name, and then it will display overriding method. So this is how the sequence of the statements will be executed. Let me show you in my program also where we have done it. So if you see over here, when we executed this program, only the employee show method was executed. If I want to execute the parent class method also, what I have to do? I have to use the super keyword. Super dot followed by the method name show, and if it has parameters, you have to pass the parameters also. Right? Now what will happen? When I call this statement even.show, the control will first of all go to the employee class. It will call this method show. The first statement in the show method is super.show. This should always be the first statement inside the method, else it will give you a syntax error. I will show you in a while. Super.show. Now super.show, this statement, what it will do? It will pass the control to the person class and to the show method. Now it will print all these three lines, name, age, and this is a person class. After executing this method, control will go to the show method of the child class, which is employee class, and then it will print the employee class variables. Alright, so let's just check it. Let's just check it out. If you see, parent class method is executed now. Alright, now what happens if I use this statement anywhere? For example, I use it over here. It will give me a syntax errors. Super should be the first statement. Okay, let me just compile it. Okay, so for example, if I put it over here in the end maybe. Alright, let me just execute. Let me execute. It will give you a runtime error. Okay. Alright. Let me compile it again, because it will display an error. Let me just compile it again. Let's check it again. Okay, I am executing it now. It's showing, but actually many times it will give you a runtime error, so better to use this statement as a first line. If you see over here in the example also, the super statement, super keyword is used as a first statement, so better to use it as a first statement, because you never know, sometimes it may give you a syntax error, so in that case your program will go wrong. Better to make it as a first line. Alright, now next keyword, next topic. So that was about method overriding. So method overriding is when child class has the same method name with the same signature as the parent class, then in that case parent class method is shadowed or the overridden by the child class. But if we want to show the output of the parent class method also, in that case we need to use the super keyword followed by the method name and its parameters if there are any parameters. Okay, final method. Now the use of the final keyword. Alright, now what is the use of the final keyword? First of all, where can we use the final keyword? Final keyword can be used with the variables, it can be used with the methods, it can be used with the classes. So what it does when we use it with the variable or when we use it with the classes. Final keyword can be used with variables, it can be used with methods, it can be used with classes. All methods and variables can be overridden by default in subclasses. Now, if we wish to prevent a subclass from overriding the members of the superclass, we can declare them final. So, making a method final, it ensures that method cannot be overridden in the child class. Similarly, if we declare a variable as final in the parent class, the value of that variable cannot be changed. Final variables behave like the class variables and they do not take any space. Now, if we declare a class as a final, that class cannot be subclassed. That means that the class cannot be inherited. So there are three usage of the final keyword. It can be used with a variable, it can be used with a method, it can be used with the class. With the method cannot be overridden. With the variable, the value of the variable cannot be changed. With the class, it cannot be extended. So I will show you the use of the final keyword now. Alright, so going here. First use is with the final, with the, for example, with the help with the variable. So if I declare it as, for example, if I make it over here, age is equals to 22, I can do it, no problem. Alright, if I declare it as final, I will use it first with the variable. Alright, I will get a compilation error because final variables cannot be changed. So they just behave like the class variables. If a variable is declared as final, the value of the variable cannot be changed. Second use of the final is with the method. Now, if a method is declared as final, then in that case the method cannot be overridden. So, for example, we have a method called show in the parent class. We have the same method called show in the parent class. In the child class. Now, if I declare it as final method, public final void show. Alright, okay. Now when I go to the employee class, this will prevent from overriding the method. Now when I compile it, I will get a compilation error because employee cannot override the show method in the person because that method is declared as final. So if you want that your child class should not be able to override the method of the person class, then in that case you need to declare the method as final. Finally, the word final can be used with the class also. If you want your class should not be subclassed, that means it should not be inherited, you can declare your class as final, public final class. So in this case I cannot extend the person class. So if you see over here, cannot inherit from the final person because the class is declared as final, so I cannot inherit this class. So these are the three usage of the final keyword. Alright, next is the constructors of the subclass. I will discuss, I will start this topic from the next class next week. By that time, please go through all the slides and please try to do the program by yourself. So thank you so much. For any questions, please attend the class tomorrow for any questions.